After making left and right turns last week at Watkins Glen, we go back to exclusively making just left turns, but it's at a very interesting track in Newton, Iowa. It's Iowa Speedway, which has been a pretty awesome circuit, racetrack to have these guys come to in the Xfinity Series to duke it out. It's not exactly a short track, but it definitely drives like it, and it's going to lead to some interesting racing here tonight. My name is Junior Kuna here with Connor Horn for the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series Round 4 of their season. And Connor, glad to have you back up in the booth for Fuel action. We were with me a few times last season and glad to have you back here for this season.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here again. We always have a lot of fun, whether the race is whether it goes down to the wire, it's a bit spread out. We always have fun up here, and I'm excited to see how this race goes. This is one of the tracks on the V7 tire that it's one of the few tracks that you can actually race sort of multi-groove, so I'm expecting to see a lot of side-by-side tonight.
Absolutely. As you see here, Brian Cham is currently on the track as qualifying is underway. Just about 2.5 minutes remaining in qualifying for drivers to put down a time. You can see Riley Thompson up at the top of the charts, Hayden Pistorius and Brian Chambliss in the 25 as we're riding on board or looking at him. Currently through. This is a great qualifying effort from the 25.
It's a really good job by him. He struggles a lot with hot lapping most of the time, and he usually can pull a decent lap out of the bag here and there. But P3, if he can stay up there, even near the top 5, that's really good for his race.
And Colin Fambro, he's just jumped up into 6th position in the 5 machine. Trying to look at some of the other notable drivers on the track that have yet to put down a qualifying time. Here, it looks like most of the major hitters have put down a time, but we got to talk about Nick Johnston in the 28. Our defending champion here, just about to roll off onto the track to put down his qualifying time. And, usually we said last season he's been the man to beat week in, week out. But with this new season that has arrived, there have been some other heavy hitters that emerged the way to the top.
Yeah, he's definitely got a lot more competition this season. He started out rough at Daytona, getting caught in the big one in the middle of the race there. He obviously missed one of the first 3 races, so it's a bit of a slow start for him, sitting about 60 points out of the points lead, which he really had for pretty much the whole season last year. He gets pretty loose in the turn 1 there, and he's going to shut that lap down immediately. But a lot more heavy hitters to deal with, and he struggled to start. He's had a slow start without a doubt, and he's going to have to find some speed here today.
Yeah, and some notable drivers from those heavy hitters we're referring to, namely Nick Delicato, who didn't really have that good of a qualifying effort. It's actually mired back in 12th place, so a little bit lower than we would expect that 74 machine to be. But also Shane Terrian in the 83, currently qualified and sitting in 6th place. He's another heavy hitter, and he's actually leading the points coming into tonight. Again, it's still relatively early in the season, but we're starting to get a better picture. And that 83 car has still remained up near the top. As you see, Nick Johnson's last attempt to put down a qualifying time, can't afford to make a mistake.
He has a really good run through turn 2 there, get as close to the wall as he can. I'm excited to see what this 83 car can do tonight. Still doesn't have that first win in Fuel yet, but this could be a really good opportunity for him to do that. As we see Nick Johnson coming out of turn 4 all the way up to the line, really close to the wall there. Is it going to be enough? Not quite. A 2.65 puts him on the front row.
Yeah, but on the front row at the very least, which I think he's going to be up. As I say, that
Not
just
quite.
got knocked from it as Byron Daly in the 06. He goes faster, and Byron Daly, winner last week at Watkins Glen, back here at Iowa. And this is going to be interesting here. Normally a driver in the IndyCar series appeared at Watkins Glen, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense to see him do pretty well on the road courses. And I mean, not to say that he would be poor on the ovals during a stock car, but it is a different philosophy. But still showing and flexing his muscles near the front. Will be starting up in 2nd place as we get ready for setting the grid here for Iowa here for round number 4. And indeed, let's start with it because we got a pretty large grid here, over 30 cars. Riley Thompson going to be starting on pole. Great qualifying effort for the 56. Byron Daly, as we mentioned, starting in 2nd place.
And Nick Johnson, who we thought was going to be on the front row, just got beat there right at the last bit. He's P3 along with championship rival Hayden Pistorius with Brian Chambliss. Really good qualifying for him. We touched on that. He's P5 alongside Thomas Bressi in 6th. David Cobb and Shane Terrian rounding out that 4th row in the 83. Looking for a strong run for him today. And rounding out the top 10 on the 5th row, Colin Fambro and Chad Simpson.
Yeah, so it's a really solid top 10. Moving on to row number 6, we find Will Roberts starting in 11th place in the 17 car. RJ Root starting in the 29 in 12th place. Cass Silman there starting in 13th in the 6 machine. Mike Skinner going to be starting in the 27 in 14th. Nick Delgado actually got pushed all the way back to 15th by the time qualifying ended, so not a good qualifying effort. He's going to have a lot of work to do. Stroll next to him in the 8 car in 16th. Mitch Welker in 17th in the 76. Travis Christian in 18th in the 93.
And then rounding out the top 20, Christian Gritzko and Casey Shu rounding out the first half of the field for the most part. And then on the 11th row, Richard Nash and Tyler Hensley. Hensley farther back in the field than he definitely wanted. He'll look for a strong run. I've seen them race really well at Iowa here in the past. Don Ruckel Jr., Tyler Dolger on that next row. Dolger's had a lot of bad luck in the last couple of fuel races dating back to last season. He'll look to recover. Josh Robertson, Jason Brophy. Brophy fast at Daytona, hasn't done much. Casey Lakatos way back in the field. Curtis Yancey alongside him, 27th and 28th. And rounding out the entire top 30 for the most part, Rich... sorry, excuse me, I can't see it's Rich Jett and Tom Bourne, excuse me.
No, you're good. And starting back in 31st, we Steve Herring in the 98, John Welko in 32nd in the 62. We find Gary Weaver in the 33 in the 01. Calvin Filarski going to line up in 35th in the 2 machine. And in 36, rounding out your field. Actually, I'm not sure how that ended up with the 36 on the left side. That's kind of weird. Brent Jones will be rounding out your field as the field begins to roll off here for 2 pace laps before we get going green here at Newton, Iowa. And also just so close through some fact checks about. Oh, okay, never mind. I don't think I was able to get that information in. Can't blame him. He's been a very busy man over the last few weeks. Just recently came back from Sonoma, California, working with SRO for their race at Sonoma, and then is now he came back for 1 day essentially, and today he actually just left for a Grid Life event out at Pikes Peak in Colorado. So he's been flying all over the country in the last few weeks.
Yeah, he's been working hard, a hard-working man. You gotta respect it. I think one fact, I think I looked it up. The track actually opened in 2006, so take that as you will. You never know what the internet might be getting you into, but it says 2006. Construction cost apparently $70 million. A lot of work gone into this oval. Really similar to Richmond, as everyone knows, but it races so much different than Richmond just because of how bumpy that inside line is, which is preferred at Richmond, but you can't really run it here. It makes it really hard to pass on the bottom.
Yeah, so you see the field here rolling onto the back straightaway. We get ready to go green. You saw the weather also as well on the bottom. Very cool track for these drivers, and they're going to be loving that. Gives them a lot of room to work with, especially to see some multi-groove racing here. Everyone going to be searching and finding grip once we go green. Speaking of which, Space Truck about to turn off onto pit road. And field going to be in control of the 56 of Riley Thompson. And there he goes, and we are green here at Iowa. Clean start up at the front of the field as Riley Thompson and Byron Daly still going at it side by side. Daly already trying to make work of that top lane and actually lead lap number 1.
Yeah, fairly clean start. Pretty much everyone tried to single file out there. The top 2 get away from the rest of the field as they battle hard for third, with Nick Johnston settling in third, pulling away Hayden Pistorius with Bresci almost into the wall off of 2.
You can see the sunset in the background as Bresci's stuck in the middle of this battle. He's got the 9 of Pistorius up ahead, as well as 20 into Nick Johnson, his rival, trying to chase him down and get past him as quickly as possible. He's got to settle in for 5th at the moment. In behind them, Shane Terrian in the black and green car to the inside again. Your points leader trying to fight with Brian Chambliss, who finds himself really high up in the field. We'll see if that 25 can stay there after fantastic qualifying.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job so far trying to stick it out on the outside lane. We already see 3 or 4 lanes being used. Nick Johnson all the way up to the top, while Thomas Bresci trying to go to the yellow line through turns 3 and 4. We're seeing them go all over the place trying to find grip early.
Yeah, absolutely. It's honestly, it's really awesome to see. Look at all the different lines, as Connor mentioned, that all these drivers are using up pretty much half the track at the moment. I think a lot of guys being a little bit shy, but also, again, trying to search for grip throughout the bottom and the middle of the track. You see running completely different lanes in 3 and 4 compared to 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's really bumpy on the way top line in 1 and 2. It basically makes it unusual, but like we said, still a lot of options all the way around this track as we're a little bit of single file action at the top. Brian Chambliss almost looking stuck on the top, can't get it rotating up there. He's got the 11 of David Cobb trying to battle it in there.
And Cobb trying to work to his inside, and you see Shane Tarrant up ahead For again, really, especially for these opening laps here of 150, you want to get yourself sorted out in line, just get yourself into a rhythm. But still going to be side-by-side action between those drivers as they head off into one. Also, just looking a little bit further back, some more action going on back here. Will Roberts, I think, is side-by-side with another driver. Indeed, he is side-by-side with, I believe, the 29, RJ Root, as they're duking it out for 11th place.
Yeah, RJ Root has a bit of a rough patch to start this season. I think he's tied for the most incidents. He hasn't been able to keep the car clean, whether it's by his fault or not, so he's really trying to turn it around. He's running strong so far, almost top 10.
And also another battle going up ahead. Shane Terrian not resting on his laurels, trying to get as many spots as possible as he's trying to work to the inside of Thomas Bresci to get inside the top 5. And is it worth pushing this hard early in a 150 lap race, or do you want to kind of ease into it?
I think with how hard it is to pass, you kind of have to ride a little bit and just see what your car can do without pushing. And seeing, I saw in turn 3 and 4 there, he's the only one running the bottom all the way down there in 3 and 4. So he might be pushing his right front too hard. He might want to back off at some point, but he really can't get let up. Chambliss is hounding him still.
Yeah, indeed, Chambliss is hounding him still from behind, and you see Chambliss now starting to get that car back in the right direction, is able to stay ahead of the 11. And to hold them off for position, Terrian and Bresci still side by side coming out at 3 and 4. See a car on the apron also in the background. That is Will Roberts. I think he had something off of 4.
He had a huge slide there. He had to make a really good save, as he's going to lose a lot of momentum out of turn number 2. Mitch Welker's going to get to his outside. He looks like he's already worn a lot of his tire out.
Yeah, you can see, wow, did a great job saving that car. Didn't look too dramatic. In the car, it definitely was. How many positions he's lost down to 15th, as you're saying. Welker's got him by.
Shane Terrian not giving up on that bottom of Bresci. We know how aggressive he can be. I saw it at Phoenix last season especially. He is not giving that bottom lane any room, as David Kolb's also still trying to get by Brian Chambliss, as well as we're seeing, looking at the main top 3, especially Nick Johnson. He is really close to the wall center.
Yeah, I'm curious if he's trying to push too hard to catch up to these leaders. Speaking of which, you see Riley Thompson go a little bit higher into turn 1, trying to, maybe get a lane on Byron Daly. And Daly, again, showing some really solid pace. Again, after winning last week, and is already up here, started in second place and already leading every single lap so far in the race early on. We'll see if he can keep that up, and especially keep that car up near the front. It's a little bit further back. Colin Framwell making a move now on Brian Chambliss to the inside.
The one battle I'm looking at is a bit back in the pack. The battle for about 24th or so, Don Runkle Jr. has it, but I think about 6 other cars won it. Look at all these guys hounding each other right now.
Yeah, these guys still in a pack. The rest of the field fairly sorted out by comparison. These guys looking like they just took the green flag as their side-by-side rows on deep. Runkle working the outside lane, and I'm feeling like that might be a bit more preferred for these drivers considering that run off the corner.
Yeah, it's really hard, like I said earlier, really hard to pass on the bottom. If someone's faster than you, you gotta force them low pretty much. You're gonna have a really tough time rotating down there and trying to stay off your left side door. As we say that, Runkle Jr. didn't get a good run. Dolger's into the wall behind him. Lakatos avoided him. Curtis Yancey gets that 24 position away. But yeah, if you can pinch that person down to the yellow line through the turns, it's gonna be tough to pass you.
Yeah, also occurs sideways. I think that's 84 of Tom Bourne in 25th at the moment, trying to work his way up through the order. I want to just check back in near the front of the field, see how our leaders are doing. It looks like for the most part they've sorted themselves out, as I think the lights just got switched on. And now Shane Terrian, he's still hounding the back of Bresci. He was sideways out of turn 4 to get that car to the inside. Here he goes again.
And he just can't keep the car under him. Like we said, Bresci aggressive on the pinching, not giving him much to work with. Bresci's going to get that running, clear him off at 2. You got to be patient if you're Shane here. That 83's fast. I know he's got the speed to run with the top 3 possibly, but he's just got to make sure he doesn't drive the right front off of it where he's got nothing left.
Yeah, that's really been the big talking point for the 24 Bresci. I felt like he's also been pretty fast, but he's just not been too good on the long runs, and that's been his biggest Achilles heel throughout last season, and even at Kentucky we saw a little bit of that as well. Managed to kind of correct it and do better at it over the run, but it looks like he's kind of managing his stuff early on here in 5th, just trying to slot himself in lane and continue on. Speaking of a few weeks ago at Kentucky, a winner of that race, Nick Delicato in the 74. not a particularly good race for him. Started in 15th, and we've seen him be extremely good when it's come to you know, preserving your tires and then waiting for the long run. Do you think that's going to help him here, or do you think he needs to start going in the right direction?
It's already about 5 seconds off the leaders, I think, and he's got a couple of cars, a bunch of cars, at least 4 battling hard for 11th. I believe Michael Skinner and Cass Silliman at the front of that battle here, but he's got to go. If it doesn't go, if there's not a yellow flag, I don't know how he's going to be able to keep up and get back to the leaders, because 150 laps, if it goes green, it's going to blow by.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am quite surprised at how far down the order he qualified. I'm not sure he just didn't get enough practice coming to this event, or if he's you know, struggling just on pace to keep up with the guys up in front. But you can see him struggling even with the car trying to hold up the 29 of RJ Root on the outside.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing here at this race, we're about 20 laps in. We don't see people. Sometimes we see a lot of people running from the back all the way to the front. We really haven't seen that. Everyone who started in the top 10 has stayed in the top 10. No one's dropped any further back. No one's gotten their way into the top 10 yet. Pretty much everyone's staying in their same lanes. It's just really hard to pass right now.
Yeah, you can see for Brian Chambliss, you're talking about guys not dropping outside the top 10 for Chambliss. He's about to do that. He's been kind of slowly dropping down the order. It looks like he might be able to hang on to at least 10th place for now. As you see, Chad Simpson in the 42, he gets on by. And he started in 10th, is only up 1 into 9th. So 42 hasn't really gone too much anywhere at all at the moment. Up in front, want to point out too, for the leaders, it's a top 3 breakaway at the moment. About a second, you can see right there a gap between 3rd and 4th place.
We're seeing them kind of go to the middle line on entrance and kind of get to that yellow line on exit. We saw Nick Johnson just do that there. So the top 10 pretty much separating themselves from the rest of the field, as 11th on back with Silliman starting that line there. They're starting to creep back up to Chambliss. Chambliss not really keeping the pace here. And we're having a hard racing on back. I think 17th, Will Roberts and Tyler Hensley almost making contact.
Yeah, and also looking at that battle still going on for around 24th place. Those guys are still going at it. Have not let off since the green flag has flown. As you're talking about with Will Roberts up the road, he's fighting with Hensley to his inside. And also there's Jason Brophy, another notable driver from the IndyCar Series. I want to say this is his first start in the Premier Series, but that car running pretty solid in the midfield.
I think Brophy might have been there for Daytona, not quite sure on that, but he's definitely trying to give all these guys a run for his money so far. As he's made 2 starts so far this season, but he hasn't made too many spots up. Actually, 26th and 19th, better than most of the drivers in the field right now. But he's also finding it hard to get to that inside of Will Roberts.
Yeah, and I see here, yeah, he made a start at Kentucky and didn't do too well there. Finished 37th, and at Daytona started on pole, finished 7th in that race. So he's done. Did well at Daytona, not so much at Kentucky, and doing decently well here at Iowa. We'll see if he can keep it up. A battle up ahead, Cass Silliman versus Mitch Welker here, side by side for 11th place.
And Silliman, they want to really pinch on that yellow line, but you can't really try to. They can't really do it. Almost went 3 wide through the middle there. That wouldn't have worked. Brian Chambliss, bit of a roadblock on that top lane, and Mitch Welker's going to take advantage. Not quite clear yet. Gets clear off of turn 2, and Silliman's going to follow with Chambliss really having to lift.
Yeah, that was a great move by Welker, an aggressive one to just box Cass Silliman right in behind Brian Chambliss there, and wasn't able to let them go on by. That was a fantastic strategy call, and it helped him, fantastic move by the 76 to get himself up inside 10th. Not done yet, he's still got the 6 to deal with, and also in behind. Brian Chambliss is about to get eaten up by everyone else in behind. Nick Delicado, he started to make some forward progress up into 13th. Now looking at 12th as he's got Chambliss to deal with, and there you see Michael Skinner and Michael Stroll next to each other, 14th and 15th.
It's possible we see a wreck trying to pass Chambliss, because a lot of these guys are coming up on him really fast. Chambliss struggling really hard out of the turrets. As you see, Delicado's got some right rear damage. Not sure where that came from, but a lot of these guys have a huge closing rate on Chambliss right now, and it's really difficult to navigate him. As Chambliss almost gets into the wall again, might have scraped it there.
See the guys going to turn 3. I want to just get a look at that right rear damage off the 74 here when he comes by the front straight. We'll see if we can take a look. You can see that quarter panel bastion just a little bit. Pretty much looks like someone just tried to throw a hammer at it, so there's not going to be too much damage for the 74. He'll continue on. For the most part, I don't think that should affect him too much.
No, it'll be fine. It's just that probably a little bit of eating and banging to get through the rest of the field. He's
Yeah.
had to work hard to get where he is already. He's still got a long ways to go too. He's nowhere close to done. About 7 seconds off the lead.
Speaking of which, up ahead, it looks like Nick Johnson is starting to close into Riley Thompson up ahead. As we look at this battle pursuing, and is now kind of the time if you've been saving anything to use it, or you kind of want to wait until the end of the fuel run?
You don't want to wait too late for the fuel run because there's a possibility the fuel run, all of these drivers, they won't stretch it all the way. So you really don't want to wait until like the last 10 laps of a run to really go all out, especially at a track like Iowa where the tires are probably already going to be dead no matter how much you save tires there. You see Johnson all the way to the left rear quarter panel of Thompson there. But I think you got to balance it. I don't think you want to go too early. You kind of got to wait until just after halfway in your fuel run, and then you can just go all out.
And speaking of that fuel run, these drivers can go just about 98 laps on a tank. Again, considering this is a 150 lap race, I doubt we're going to see them go all almost 100 laps. We're probably going to see pit stops occur around 75-ish, so this is kind of where we're starting to approach the halfway point in that run, where, as you're saying, you should probably start thinking, you know, just pushing the envelope just a little bit. But fairly calm racing, fairly green racing here at Iowa. I know I'm going to jinx it. We're going to have 20 cautions probably after I said that. But really good stuff so far. Ryan Chambers, man, this has not been going good for him. He's dropping like a rock.
No, he had the hot lap speed, but he hasn't been able to really do anything other than that. He's been stuck on the top lane, can't get the car to rotate out of the turns, had a few brushes with the wall. It is not his night so far. That was RJ Root trying to challenge him. This is all the way back in 16th now.
Yeah, and for Brian Chambers, we're talking about a caution. I imagine that he's definitely praying for a caution since he can get some fresh tires on that car, because I think this is only going to get worse for him as his run goes on. He might have just burned up his stuff just a little bit too much. Again, as you're saying, have the hot lap pace, but again, it's going to be a lot of tire conservation, especially with the new tire model in play for these drivers. So he's going to continue to drop back here. You still see them side by side. Starting to form up a bit of a pack as well.
Meanwhile, a couple people retiring from the race. Joel Holloway and Josh Robertson, I think, have left the room. So those are the only two retirements of the race so far. It's like you said, fairly calm racing so far, and there's racing all around the track. You go all the way back to 31st position or so. We're seeing a lot of battles there. John Wilco and Gary Weaver still right next to each other.
And
sorry about that. I was just about to say that they're almost about to get lapped. These leaders are about to come into lap traffic.
take a look on board with Byron Daly. You can see a few cars just up the road, and those are the cars you were talking about here. Gary Weaver, I can see up on the top. Then you got John Wilco and Brent Jones all directly ahead, 33rd, 32nd, and 31st. Just about to go a lap down for the leaders. So this is going to be interesting too. You know, you not only got to deal with managing your tires, but also getting through the lap traffic. Again, the track very short, so it's pretty. It's not too incredibly common to catch lap traffic this early.
It seems like Byron Daly's almost, it's sort of in another zip code. He's leaving to get to the next zip code right now. He's not at the point where he's untouchable, but he's got a decent gap, about a second and a half to Riley Thompson, who's in the middle of a battle with Nick Johnson. Johnson looks faster. He just can't point the car to get under him and get the big enough run. Whoa, Thompson got really loose out of 4.
Yeah, here's see again with the lap traffic now. Nick Johnson maybe might try to wait for a lap car, to you know, cause Riley Thompson to check up. We'll have to see if he wants to play that game to get that second spot. Also, again, Thomas Bressy right in behind, pursuing the guys up in front. He's managed his tires pretty good so far to keep that 4th spot, and might even have some more here.
Yeah, we're not used to seeing him be able to save those tires. It's one thing he's really struggled with and cost him in these championships. It seems like he's got it going in the right direction so far. Still a long way to go in this fuel run before we expect to see his stop, but he's looking good so far. He's solidly in the top 5.
Another battle going on in behind for 6th place. Peyton Pistorius versus David Kalb right behind in the 11. Machine Kalb working to the inside. You can see again the multi-groove racing at play there. You see the 11 all the way to the bottom and almost coming up into the 9 of Pistorius, who almost hits the wall. That could have been a disaster.
Another thing we got to look for is the slide jobs that we see, especially in the turn 3 and out of 4s. He's going to try it middle of turn 2. He slides up. He's clear for that position for now. Pistorius isn't going to have any of it. They're going to go side by side. That slide job, it's a move you practice sometimes, but it's not one that's executed easily at all.
Yeah, you can see them still side by side, and this battling has allowed the 5 of Colin Farmer to also appear into the picture as well. Was on an absolute hot streak, that 5 car, at the tail end of last season. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get the championship, but was pretty close to doing so. But he's not been off to the greatest of starts this season. Has been decent so far for the 5, but looking at gaining 2 more spots here if he can get around the 9.
If he can have a good regular season and back up the chase he had last year, he's definitely a favorite for the championship. He just got to have a really strong run throughout the whole season, not just the chase, the 5-race chase, or however many races it is, I apologize. But he's got to start getting some good runs to get up there in the points. He hasn't had the best of runs so far. He's got to turn something around soon.
As a little bit of a look up the inside of Hayden Pistorius, nothing quite just yet. Ooh, almost hits him in the rear, and you gotta be very careful, especially mid-corner at Iowa with the older tires. As David Cobb now working to the inside of Shane Terrian, who looks like he's starting to fall back quite a bit after his great pace early on, and he goes way to the outside. We're 3 wide for just a moment.
Yeah, that was actually, is that a Terrian?
No, oh, that's not Terrian, sorry.
They have really similar cars. I was agreeing with you. I didn't tell that, but yeah, Gary Weaver, a bit slow on pace, just letting the pack of cars by. It actually is a decent pack of cars. David Cobb getting away from it. Fambro trying to get 7th from Pistorius, and you got Chad Simpson, Mitch Welker, Gary, and Nick Delicato trying to creep up with those guys.
And this is Shane Terrian. You can see Bressy right up the road from him. There's a bit of a gap, 2.6 seconds here. Shane Terrian past the camera. And there's David Kalb trying to run him down here, and that 11 looks like he's been saving his stuff up quite a bit. Now starting to push the issue here in the later part of this run. Now Colin Farmer also lining up to potentially make a pass on the 9 car. They got Chad Simpson and Mitch Welker in 10th, who's had a pretty solid climb up. Started in 17th, all the way up into 10th for that 76.
Really strong run for him so far. We always see speed from Mitch Welker no matter where he starts, and no different tonight, obviously. Really hitting a bit of a roadblock with these 3 ahead of him. It's going to be tough to get by them all at once, too. It's probably going to take him to the rest of the run, likely to get by these guys without a mistake from any of them.
You can really see him even in the background, just a little bit sideways on the car. The tire's really starting to wear out.
Fambro, I think he wants to go for sure, almost into a back bumper Pistorius. He might not have any patience left already.
Yeah, you see a bit of a crease in the back quarter of the bumper for the 9 of Pistorius. You see Fambro throw it up the inside here. Again, it's a lot about that run off the corner. That's been the tough part to continue. As you see, Pistorius not quite able to get clear by the time they get to turn 1. Now you see Fambro send it back up the inside here against still side-by-side action.
You see Fambro's rear tires look much better. He almost got a better run out of turn 2 than Pistorius, but that outside line's so key to have as Fambro's going to try to send it again up the inside. Not going to try a full-on slider, but might have enough grip to try to squeeze him. Not quite, as we're a 2x2 at Iowa.
Yeah, and in the background, you see Welker now starting to work on Chad Simpson here. Saw the advantage, and the opening is going to try to clear the 42 and up ahead. Still, Fambro trying to work on that 9. And what do you think that Fambro could try to do to get that 9? Because obviously, Pistorius, he doesn't want to give that out to lane because that's the only thing that's keeping him ahead of that 5 at the moment.
I mean, if anything, I'd try getting under him out of turn 4, getting a run on him out of turn 4, maybe to the inside, trying to hold inside of him out of turn 2, and then maybe try a slider through turns 3 and clear him out of 4. That's the way I try to make passes here at Iowa. It takes a lap for me to do them, but it seems like it's a formula that works, especially in Cup cars. Maybe not in Xfinity cars, but you really want to get that inside positioning on them through out of 4, and slide them into 3 if you can just stay under them.
Ooh, and some drivers down onto pit road. Interesting stuff.
It's Nick Johnston and Thomas Bressy, I believe. I don't know if anyone else came
in.
in.
And if you can double check for me and just confirm that the fuel limit is 100%.
I'll see.
I'm genuinely curious about this.
I believe it should be. I guess I'll check quickly here.
Yeah, it should be in the info tab.
Yep.
Because if not,
the caution is out as I'm checking that the yellows came out, and that changes the things, I believe.
Yo, it was Colin Fambro.
Oh boy. He actually said over the radio next time I'm gonna move him, so he's not happy with Pistorius, I believe.
Yeah, you see Welker up the inside as well. They don't make contact, but it's here with the 5 and the 9 coming off the corner. He gets loose. Oh, and the 76 Welker did get into the 5 out of control. down the front straightaway. So that's going to bring out the caution as Johnston and Bressie. That's not going to bear well for them as both of them a lap down.
Yes, the yellow came out. Byron Daly was, I think, out of turn number 2 at least, and then the yellow came out. So those two, I believe, only one down, so their races won't be over. I don't think they'll get the lucky dog position, though, so they're a bit of a wrench thrown into their races as leaders who hadn't pit, most of them, are going to come to pit road.
Yeah, and they should be able to cycle out back to the lead lap if everyone on the lead lap pits, which you would imagine that would be the case, but you never know. Someone could stay out and ruin their race, at least early on. As you see the field working down onto pit lane. We dare see anyone try 2 tires. I have a dirty feeling we might not.
I don't think you'll see it even for a late race restart. It's very difficult to make that work at any track, let alone a track like this where it just eats up all the tires.
Right side's up. There go the lefts. You see Brian Chambliss, he's working his way actually on through. I didn't record a pit stop for the 25, so he's not going to have to come back in, but it's going to be Riley Thompson, Byron Daly, Shane Terry, and David Cowell off of pit road. Brenton Jones actually rounded out your top 6. Actually, he also rolled on through, so Hayden Pistorius will come out in 5th.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty key pit stop for Riley Thompson to get by the 06. We'll see what he'll be able to do with clean air, and a lot of these guys are probably breathing a sigh of relief because that 28 is pretty much out of the equation for a little bit here.
Yeah, and from the looks of it, trying to see here, Nick Johnston, he should be, yep, he's going to be good, as well as Bressie. You can see him just ahead of Brian Chambliss. They actually not come back down. This is some interesting stuff.
I highly doubt he'd be staying out here.
Yeah, so it shows that, you know, he's come in, it's reset the stint information for us. But he came in, no pit stop recorded, only spent 25 seconds on pit road, which is not enough for a stop, everyone spending 40 some odd. So, yeah, I don't know about this, because you would think he would come in the next time by.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens here, but I doubt that will even come close to working. He'll probably get lapped a couple times before he finally does have to come down and actually pit.
And I don't consider myself a strategy master, but, you know, I would think that would be a decent call to come in. It looks like this time he'll come on by. I think wanted to make sure he led a lap, I think, is what the call was there for the 25, so he'll cycle his way on back with that. Will give himself an extra bonus point, though, as the field will be back in control of Riley Thompson. And one thing I really want to talk about, I'm curious, so we didn't really get a chance to brush up on this because the caution immediately came up, but that strategy by the 56 and the 24 is an interesting one, to say the least. Sorry, 28 24, yeah. I'm
failing to see where the fuel is. I'm trying to find it.
Check the top left of the info tab, I think. I
got the rule book. I'm trying to.
Oh, no. Go in the. You can check in the server if you go in the info tab of the.
Oh, that wasted a lot of time. I apologize.
No, you're good.
In the info on iRacing, you said?
Yeah, in the session tab, in the info tab, it's there on the top left.
On the top left, I don't see doesn't say there's a fuel limit. I see a tire set limit is of 4, so I guess that's one thing to look forward to possibly, but I don't see anything about the fuel load.
Okay, yeah, and I definitely know they don't mention in the rule book. I could have sworn after last week that it was 100. I could be wrong, because if it was 100, I would expect him to wait a little bit longer.
It says the setup is identical to Iowa. I think they. I think.
Oh, I just remembered. If it doesn't say anything, it should be at 100%. So and as we're about to go back green, that raises an interesting question. Do you think that would have been a good strategy call for them? Because it was lining up to be only a one-stop race. You know, you can pit around lap 75 and go to the end there, but they came in on lap 50. You think they were planning on making 2 stops with that call and pitting at lap 100 as well, or do you think they were just trying to get an early pit stop in?
I think it's possible they might have been trying that, but I'm trying to look at Riley Thompson's times. He started out running 24/7s at the very beginning of a run, and his fall-off was only 1 second. I really don't know if they would have been able to make the difference up with another stop with fresher tires, but I guess we will never know. They didn't get the chance to really see that, but they'll have to fight their way back up, and they're going green here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be interesting to see both those cars fight up the order as Riley Thompson leads the field back to green at Iowa. Riley Thompson easily going to clear Byron Daly down into turn one. Everyone else still duking out here with fresh rubber to work with.
We might see cautions breed cautions here. You never really know when you get a long run and then a caution after that long run. And just as I say that, the second yellow of the race is out.
Yep, I was going to say we saw something very similar occur at Iowa. It's not Iowa, sorry, at Richmond last night. The tracks were too similar, I'm getting them mixed up. But we had a green flag run of around 50 laps, which is exactly, ironically, how long the first green flag run went for this race. And then we had, I think, about 7 or 8 cautions in very quick succession. But we'll take a look. It was a 77 Ridge Jet that brought the caution out, and I think this might have just been a typical Iowa wreck here out of turn 2.
On the bottom down there, those bumps can catch you out, especially on cold tires. He just whipped his car right around. He does a little bit of 360, pretty much saves it, no harm, no foul. But stewards, they thought that was I think the iRacing stewards didn't like that. They wanted to yell at him.
Yeah, I'm gonna see here down. I'm curious if he clipped the apron. This might have been him, as you're saying, just clipping the bumps. Yeah, the car slowly but surely just went around.
A slow spin, but a safe spin nonetheless. Sorry about that. It kind of saves the 24 and the 28 a little bit. They got their lap back. They can come in to get their tires, but like I was talking about, you have that tire limit of 4, and like you don't want to use all of them up too early. As we see mixed strategies from those two, Bresci stays out. Johnson goes in for his next set of tires.
Yeah, actually, did Johnson come in when the caution came? Oh, no, yeah, I think he was in his stall. So this is interesting stuff. Curious if he might be there to top off on fuel? Yeah, I don't see Jax up on that car.
He is taking fuel. All right.
Yeah, I actually kind of hope with that ATVO does add some information in the future. I'm not sure if even iRacing would export it, but if drivers actually take tires or not. Because it records every pit stop as just an increase in the number. Because it usually assumes you're going to take tires or something. Yeah. But so for Nick Johnson, he's going to roll back out in 28th, while Thomas Bresci just up ahead in 27th. So Johnson is chopping off on fuel. These guys should actually be able to go to the end on gas. I'm curious if they're going to want to. Is I guess the bigger question here. They're going to have to go 90 laps almost on a stint. That's pretty long to ask of the tires, I would think.
Yeah, no, not sure what's going to happen with that. The tires might not last. We saw, I think, in Erska last night, I believe, I saw a right front go down, and that was a long run as well. We saw someone's right front go down out of turn 2, I think.
Yeah, that was actually a hardware failure.
It was a hardware failure?
Yeah,
it looked like a right front. But
it looked exactly like a tire failure.
It did look like a tire failure, but I know that, his tires are probably dying. I know those Richmond tires, they wear pretty harshly if you go too long on them, and Iowa's, in my opinion, worse on the tire wear. So I don't know, about 100 laps to the end here, I don't know if you're able to make that work, let alone on the fuel.
Yeah, especially he was also putting that driver, forgot who it was off the top of my head, was putting in a lot of wheel. But yeah, I think especially you talk about amount of wear again, the very real possibility of blowing a tire and getting a flat. We've seen it a few times on SimTV in a multitude of different series, especially when these guys have to push the tires quite a bit. And again, you were saying too, the fall off was not too much, only about a second, we've seen bigger kind of, how do you say it? You've seen bigger gaps between your best time and the time later in a run in other series. So curious to see again. It's a really big question for these drivers because it could almost, at least from our point of view, early on, it seems like it could almost go either way.
Yeah, it really can go either way. I think the tire, not the tires, excuse me, the ratio on your wheel, if with this V7 tire for some reason, it makes such a big difference whether you run 8-1 or 10-1 or 12-1. Before I start, I run 12-1 now, but I used to run 8-1 all the time. It was just easier to save the car, but the tires, even on the old tire model for the ovals, it just would kill the right front and pretty much all the tires. It made it easier for me to turn. I didn't have to turn the wheel too much, but the tires just didn't last like all my other competitors. So
interesting.
It's really, you kind of have to find a balance between turning the wheel too far or turning the wheel too little, because it's, unfortunately, that's just how the way it goes on iRacing. That steer ratio makes such a big difference, as well as the steering offset too.
And again, here you're watching the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series here from Newton, Iowa at Iowa Speedway. It's been a fantastic race so far. Only 2 cautions to slow us down early. We'll see if we can get some good green flag runs here. This is going to be, as you're saying, cautions, breeding cautions here. Pace truck about to turn off on a pit road. Riley Thompson getting control of the field. He's been dominating this race so far. We can see, actually, sorry, I should say Byron Daly's been dominating this race so far. Riley Thompson has the lead of the field as he comes back to green flag back here at Iowa.
And we saw Byron Daly on the initial start get to the lead pretty quickly. He wasn't able to do it on that last restart. I'm wondering if see what he does on this next run, not being the control car, not being the leader of this race, as we're seeing a wreck out of turn 2, RJ Roots around. Sorry, Michael Skinner.
And already a big, much bigger pileup this time out of turn 2. I think it actually looked like most of the guys got out okay. We might see some bumps and scrapes from drivers in the order as the 27, as you're saying, went around in that.
Only one car went around in that, but a couple of guys had to wall it to avoid it, so a lot of people got some damage out of it.
Actually amazed of how many people were able to avoid hitting that 27 who's stuck right on the racing line out of the corner. That's typically a bit very scary here. Mitch Welker, unfortunately, was right in behind, or I should say right outside the 27 as he got loose. Nowhere for him to really go. He, I think, probably got some of the most damage out of it, hit the wall quite a bit.
Oh.
See Farmer and a few others scrape as they were going on by, and also saw a decent lick from that blue and white
Steve
machine.
Herring, I believe, in the 98.
Yes, that is Herring in the 98.
And Skinner wanted the middle line, and Welker was kind of there. He shoved him up the track, and then the cold tires caught him out again. The 27 just went around, and nowhere for anyone else on the top lane to go. He was already committed.
Right on board here with the 98.
Oh. Someone just got hit under yellow, I believe.
Oh, that's not true.
Richard Nash just got rear-ended under yellow by Will Roberts. I don't think that was intentional. That was unfortunate.
Oh, Will, what are you doing? What are you doing out there, Will?
Get him suspended. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. What is he thinking?
I'll take a look at that. Sure, Will's not going to want us to, but that's exactly why I'm going to. See the car perfectly fine, that 17, and here they come into turn 1.
Nice. It's a really nice speed.
Yeah.
Oh, no. He's texting and driving. He must be. He must be texting and driving.
I want to see this from in the car.
Look at him, he's just chilling, you know, he's keeping his distance, socially distancing and all that, doing a good job. And it's like he throttles up. I don't think they had any problems. He just throttles up.
I think you didn't realize that they caught, because I think they were still trying to catch the rest of the pack and they were closing up on him. I don't think you realized how close they were, and I think might have checked, you know, to look down at your black box or something else. I remember doing it. I was with, I'm not sure if you were in that race, but I was with Jeremy Miller and a few other guys from the VRL series. Will just posted a comment on YouTube, I hate you right now. Will, see, this is why you crash. You're watching YouTube. You need to focus on the race, focus on the track. But no,
not us. We just love seeing people fail.
Yeah, but something similar happened to me because I was with Jeremy Miller and a few other guys from that league. And they were doing a fun race, I think, at Charlotte, and we were rolling off for the initial start of the race, and I was just I was adjusting something in my black box, and I looked back up because I think it was the new Charlotte where you start kind of pointing at angle, so there's a big gap when you catch the rest of the field. So I was just looking down at something else, and I saw the field up in front of me. I'm like, uh-oh, and I just completely creamed Jeremy Miller.
Yeah, that's funny because Jeremy would be the one to do that, I would think. He always brags, the all-time incidents leader in Outsiders Racing League. He keeps that crown. He doesn't have it in Fuel though. He's like 20 X's behind. So I wanted him to race tonight. He has to get his crown back. Yeah,
and you're saying that he was watching hockey that's gone into.
It went into 5 overtimes. I think it finally ended. So that's good. But another game got postponed because of it. Because they're in that bubble, they have to play on the same ice, so they weren't gonna play another game on that ice, I guess. Yeah,
and with that, back to the racing here, we're starting to see a bit of what you're talking about. You hit the nail on the head. You know, cautions breed cautions on our second quick yellow here, and also interesting too. So I made a mistake earlier. That Riley Thompson was not dominated this race. It was Byron Daly that has. You see Thompson, he's only led 13 laps, and that's all been recently. Byron Daly has led 51 to himself up in the front, so with the short amount of runs we're getting at the moment, 06 Daly might be in for a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, he's not getting he's not getting an opportunity to get back to the lead just yet, and you know, the fuel, it might not be an issue. We might see drivers actually go to the end on this run if the yellows keep coming out. There's no reason to pit and take those 2 or 3 or even 2 or 3 sets of tires. So he's got to hopefully get a good restart like he did on the initial start and try to get back up there and control the race.
And the field now working their way through 3 and 4 after 3 cautions to slow the pace down here. Slowly approaching the halfway mark as well. Here at Iowa. Here goes the pace truck. It's going to turn off on a pit road. Field back in control of the 56 Riley Thompson. As we go green back here at Iowa.
A good jump for Thompson there. He's going to clear. Byron Daly clear for P2 as well, as those two are going to get away. And David Kolb, he's going to clear up for third. Not quite the 83. Terry not letting him go easy.
It's been a big struggle out of turn 2 the last few times by checking in on the midfield to see how they're doing as they work on through. And it looks like for the most part they're going to make it through lap 1 here.
We saw, I think, a slide job. I think Byron Daly might have went for it in turn 3 and 4. He's on the outside all of a sudden, and it's side by side for the lead. Byron Daly's going for it.
Yeah, he's going to try to pinch the 56 down to the apex in 1 and 2. It's going to buy him a lot. You see him back up to the lead. The 06 of Byron Daly. Now Riley Thompson behind trying to defend from David Kalb. And here comes Shane Terrian back on the offensive up the inside.
Yeah, Byron Daly, he had that positioning on the inside into turn 3 like I said he needed to, and he went for the slider. He got the positioning on the outside, which is really what you want to do. If you want to do that slide job, you don't really have to clear him out of turn 4. You just want that positioning on the outside to have the next turn into turn 1. David Colvin to be outside wall there, but you really need that outside positioning to make a pass work.
Yeah, you see now Pistorius now working on the inside of Club after he hit the wall, as you mentioned, on the back straight. Shintarian also looking for some more ground. Dropped back to around 5th in the last run, now up into 3rd, looking at 2nd place. Pistorius and Club still side by side. And you can see the 11 pinch the 9 down to the apex in 1 and 2, exactly how Daly was able to get on by, and it looks like Club will be successful.
Yeah, bumping and banging in the mid-pack. Fambro and Will Roberts still bumping into each other even under green flag. A lot of beating and banging in the middle of the pack, and you get the feeling by how hard these guys are racing that it is go time here at Iowa.
Yeah, if it hasn't been already, it's definitely now. You see Will Roberts in the middle of this mess. 3 wide heading down to turn 1. They're going to get very tight. Roberts almost getting into the 20 into Nick Johnson. That could have been a wreck.
Yeah, Nick Johnson needs to make up all the ground he can. He needs quick yellows, but it doesn't seem like he's getting them right now. There's still 3 wide behind him. He's almost still in that 3 wide. He's got a lot of ground to make up after running top 3 the entire first half.
You see Christian Grisco sideways in the 91 Oreo machine on the inside, and also on the outside of the 4 Casey Chu. Now the 27 Michael Skinner, who we saw loop it around a little bit earlier, he's going to rock it around and just clear the 17 of Will Roberts.
Getting a little bit of maybe a friendly or unfriendly tap from Curtis Yancey in turns 1 and 2 there. Really aggressive here right outside the top 20, I believe, as the rest of the field trying to spread out from one another, and it's just really difficult to do early on.
Yeah, now David Kalb in behind Shane Terrian as Terrian is able to get on by, and Terrian also hounding the back of Riley Thompson here, trying to find his way on by, and curious to see if he can push the envelope here and potentially get himself up in front. And potentially this race is 83, we mentioned, had quite a bit of speed, dropped off in the last half of the run last time we had a green flag run.
Yeah, he wasn't able to keep up last time, but really hoping that he can somehow mix it up there fairly soon. You're not going to have as much time as we're actually about to get to halfway. I believe we still have halfway points. I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but this would be for it's either in the last time by or this time by for halfway points.
Yeah, we'll double check on that a little bit, but as you're saying, yep, halfway here through the race as Daly comes on by to tick over to lap 76. Been doing a phenomenal job up in the front. It's going to take a lot to take this race away from him. We'll have to see again if he can continue up there. Riley Thompson, his biggest competitor at the moment.
And there are halfway points still, kind of like stage points as we know from last season. So I think it's still the top 5 getting those bonus points. So pretty much single file, not really any battles for those not those playoff points, just the bonus points going into that lap. Everyone in the top 5, a little bit on back, spreading out, and just like the first run, we're seeing a 3-car breakaway.
Yeah, and those guys starting to break away from one another. How about Casey is looking back here, moving his way up inside of 10th after starting back in 27th. I imagine is probably one of the biggest movers of the race.
Yeah, him and Jason Brophy. Brophy started 26th. He's up to 9th. Both of these guys pretty much exactly gained the same amount of spots so far. Also, Tyler Hensley.
Well, in behind is as you mentioned, Hensley, Thomas Bressy, his teammate, sending it up the inside of McQuistion, going to door each other just a little bit off the corner. That got really close.
Oh, and he's going to get right rear.
Oh no, Bressy hard into the wall in turn 3, caution out yet again.
And Michael Skinner, another wreck. He can't get away from these crashes. That was out of nowhere. Didn't look intentional, but I think Bressy's going to have ideas of retaliation at some point.
See here is heading off into turn 3. Who got into who? Looks like Bressy, he might have been looking to try to clear McQuistion off into the corner, but didn't quite have the overlap. At least I want to think that's what happened. Here, let's get another view.
Yeah, they were really tight, getting pinched really hard by McQuiston out of turn 2. They made a little bit of contact there. Bressy wants that middle, doesn't want to go all the way to the low line, and McQuiston wanted the middle. They just went for the same piece of real estate, and Bressy was the one who came out with a destroyed race car.
And it looks like that thing is still drivable. However, I think he's going to definitely have to sit into the pits for some required repairs, and that's going to take a while for him. So this is not what the 24 needed at all for the season. Again, it's still pretty early in the points. There's always the reset. There's always the fuel finals, the fuel playoffs later on in the season where the points get reset, but it's not going to be helping him early on, especially considering, you know, we talk about the bonus points. You get bonus points for race wins heading off into the playoffs, so you need as many wins as you can. But for Bressy, going to be struggling early on. He's all the way back outside the top 30.
Yeah, all that goes back to a decision to short pit with Nick Johnson under the green flag run, getting trapped by that yellow flag, having to take that wave around, losing all that track position. That wreck he was just involved in goes all the way back to that decision, because without that happening, he probably wouldn't have been around McQuiston.
And notably, everyone back from, it seems, actually gotten some mixed strategy up near the front of the field. Byron Daly, David Cobb, Hayden Pistorius, Casey Lakatos, and also Nick Johnson will just come on back into pit road. Notable drivers, everyone else near the front has stayed out. Daly cycling out to around 18th position with that call. Interesting to see if this is going to play out his way. Very much could.
I think it was about 10 cars, maybe 11 or 12 that are on the lead lap that came down for that. I believe for most of these guys, their second set of tires. I think they'll have 2 to go. Like we said earlier, wish we had something to look at that, but just not the case. So we'll see how quickly you can get through the field. I don't think they're going to make much of a difference. Like we said, the tire fall off, there really wasn't much of a fall off. And with the night, the sun setting already, the lights are on. I don't know how. I think the fall off's going to get a little bit better, by meaning that I don't think it's going to be as big of a drop in speed here.
You can see the lights on all around the track. Track pretty much bathed in darkness. There's still some residual light from the sun as it continues to set here, but this race has been blowing on by for the most part. We just got a little bit under 70 laps to go, as we're very much in the second half of this race. And I mean, I want to say, beside the obvious pick, actually, I guess I shouldn't even say obvious pick because he's got pretty far back, Byron Daly. Who do you think's got a shot at winning the race now with the way these guys are lined up?
I think it's going to keep going green, yellow, green, yellow. I don't know. Riley Thompson, he seems on these restarts, it's kind of hard to pass him. The only one who's been able to even get by him is Byron Daly. They've been controlling the top 2 the entire race. They've been 1-2 up until that point where Daly pit. So we'll see what Shane Terrian has for the 56. But Riley Thompson, if that 0.6, if he can't get through the field on those new tires, it's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, definitely is. I'm trying to look here who I think has got a good shot. I would want to pick the 83 of Shane Terrian, but I feel like he just doesn't have the consistency over the long run. I mean, if we keep having short runs, I think it'll definitely go his way. But with the longer runs, especially as we get later in the race and potentially more cars wrecking out due to some yellows, I think we might have a shot at going green. I think this is where the 83 might struggle. I think you can still get a good finish, not the win necessarily. I want to go with the 56 of Riley Thompson up in front. I think I have a feeling either A, for Byron Daly, he's going to get caught up in something like we saw with Bressy as he was working his way up, or it's not going to have enough time if we get multiple yellows or even the long green flag run. 17th is really hard to climb back from in one run.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what to think of Nick Johnson as well. I don't know if he pit last time by. I think he actually did pit under
He
that
did come
last
by.
yellow.
He did come by this yellow.
Not it was this yellow.
Yep, it was this yellow.
So he might be down to 2 sets because we saw him take fuel only. A lot of these guys are probably down to 2 sets. Who knows how many, if they'll even use all of them. I think a lot of guys are going to leave a bunch of tire sets on the table. But now the 06 and 28 are back. They're kind of together. Pistorius as well. 3 fast drivers. We'll see how quickly they can get up there on their new tires.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, as we're waiting for the pace truck to pull back on pit road, get this race back under green. Thompson going to get control of the field once again after multiple restarts. He's been up in front. Shane Tarrington's outside as we go back green here at Iowa. And a great start for the 56, not so much for the 83. Side by side with Stroll to his inside.
This is the highest up Stroll's been in a while. He has a really good opportunity to maybe steal a top 5 on this run to the end here, possibly. As he's going to stay on the bottom, maybe try a slider into turn 3. Not quite. He backs out early.
Yeah, he's going to keep that car pinned to the yellow line, just going to hug the inside. Castellman, they've worked their way up quite a bit. Out of turn 4, they will come, and a great run on the outside as well.
Yeah, he's going to... Silliman looking really good there. P4, been top 10 most of the race. They're really giving it a good run on the top. And, I don't know, Chad Simpson looks really good right now, though. He's trying to make the middle work, but the middle just seems like it has not been a preferred line. As we're seeing in the back of the mid-pack 3x3x3 almost, but there's another yellow.
Oh, and another yellow going to slow the race down, trying to see who's involved. Casey Lacatus, I see who that car
Michael
really,
Skinner.
really destroyed, as well as you're saying Michael Skinner in the third one. He's actually reset back to the pits. That's not what the 50 Lacatus needed. Let's take a look and see what happened.
I think there was at least one more car involved in this. Mitch Welker going under John Wilco. Wilco not giving him any room, and Mitch Welker kind of boots him out of the way. Really nowhere for Welker to go, though. And Skinner kind of went through him. I don't know how much damage he got, but 3 strikes and you're out, I think, regardless of if he caused or not. It has not been the night he wanted. You see Wilco out of 2 there, just not giving Welker any room whatsoever there.
Yeah, trying to see if I can get... to see where either one of these guys are down the order. There's Mitch Walker. Going right above on board on the from the blimp here, we can try to see how egregious this was. And yeah, wow, Wilker just did not give him almost any room to work with at all. I mean, you could argue that yeah, you could argue that he gave him that Wilco gave as much room as he needed. But I want to see on board here as we ride with the 76. Welker looking up the inside.
I don't know if Wilco even came down for fresh tires. Yes, he gave him enough room, but at this point in the race, you're already in the middle of the pack. You don't really need to make that sort of block, and especially for a guy as fast as Welker, you really don't want to block him. So I don't understand it may be a little bit on both of them, but I definitely wouldn't throw a block like that, especially into a turn like that where it's really difficult to keep the car under you.
Yeah, with that, we're going to cut to just a quick break to take a bit of a breather. We'll be right back here for the restart. Welcome back to Iowa here. We're just about to go green, 1 to green, lights out on the pace truck. Riley Thompson again going to lead them. Now, he's been the leader pretty much ever since we started getting these cautions. We saw Byron Daly go back up in front, but then he immediately came down to the pits. And you were talking about it. He's just moved himself up into 9th place after only 1 restart. So he's been doing a phenomenal job of getting himself back up through the order here.
Yeah, he did a good job. He made a couple 3-wide moves through the middle before that yellow, and we'll see what the tires can do for him when he gets up to the top 5 and maybe even the top 3. We're going to go green again. He's going to have another shot.
And there we go, back out green here at Iowa.
Shane Tarrant on the outside. He just can't get the launches that Byron Daly would get on the top, and it leaves him vulnerable to a move from Michael Stroll. Trying to clear high, just can't quite get the run through the center like the 83 can.
Absolutely, and that's again the big talking point here. That outside lane working out really well for Terry. It looks like it's going to give him 2nd place over Stroll. Very similar to how they were lined up last time by, and then also with Cass Silman in behind there, you got a great run. Trying to look around the outside, but Stroll at the block.
Yeah, Stroll not having any of it, and you see that 0-6 sort of creeping into the picture with that. He's doing as much as he can, 3 wide under the 20 and the 51. He gets the job done there, I believe. That is about, he's already up to 8th, I believe. That's 1 spot that last lap. I don't think he's going to move up this lap, but he's going to have a really good charge out of 4. Look at the grip difference he has. He's going to go 3 wide again.
Yeah, big dive is saying 3 wide to the inside with Chad Simpson and Travis McQuistion on the outside. Caution out yet again, and it's Casey Lakatis. No, Tyler Delger that's involved. He's in the grass in the front straightaway, and see what caused this.
Yeah, we're talking about his luck not turning for a while earlier. It just really can't get anything going the last couple of weeks to go back to last season. He had a bit of a slide, and a bunch of people had to narrowly avoid that.
Somehow he was able to avoid a lot of people and was able to keep that car relatively in good condition. I think got a few taps from behind, but could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, Tyler Hensley, I'm not sure if he even hit him. He did a good job. Him, RJ Root, and Casey Shue, those 3 guys really did a nice job of avoiding them.
And again, cautions, breed cautions. Here's what our total is up to now. We're nowhere, anywhere near close breaking any caution records for SimTV.
I doubt we'll even come close to that.
No, we're only at 6, and we're well over halfway through the race.
For 1 lap, that's some quick yellows. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this has never been fixed, unfortunately, with the way because iRacing changed the way they scored laps. So
yeah.
But yeah, definitely that number is right. Number 6 cautions out at the moment. An interesting thing, I don't think it's going to come down to it, but at Richmond last night, we saw the admins switch over the restarts to single file to get the racing clean, because I think we were getting to 7 or 8 in very quick succession. So it hasn't been, I don't think, as bad here at Iowa, but you never know. We could see that potentially happen if it does get bad enough. I would believe that's on the table for changing.
I'm seeing the more yellows we get, the less people coming down the pit road. I think the lone person close up to the front, even close up there, is Brian Chambliss. He was 14th, I believe, or somewhere around there. He comes down for fresh tires. We saw him struggling on old tires earlier, as I believe it was might have been the 24 Thomas Bresci who gets the lucky dog, and he was 9 laps down. I think he'll be down to 8, so a couple more yellows as we've been seeing, and who knows, he might have a shot at a better finish, but that's unfortunate how his night's gone for sure.
You can see right there, all the way back in 32nd, and we had 36 guys that took the green, and you can tell by the number that a majority of them still running on track. In fact, he's the last running car. Skinner is out retired as the most recent car that has retired in 33rd position. So Bresci, he's got a lot of ground to make up. Fortunately for him, he's the only car a lap down, so if he continues to get these cautions, which I'm sure he's hoping is the way this race continues, he'll has a shot of, while not exactly getting his lap, getting back in the lead lap, because that would take 8 cautions, which is quite a bit to ask for. But he'll definitely get quite a few back, and if there's a few more bad racks, he can make up some decent positions at the very least.
He's got to hope for a couple big ones that he can luckily avoid here in these next couple of restarts here, because I assume we're going to get a few more restarts. We noted on the one restart where everyone was driving crazy, which was, I think, the longest run we had. All of these drivers are thinking it's go time. You got to go race for the win, get up to the front right now, and it's causing a lot more aggressive moves, aggressive blocks, as we saw with the 62 and 76, and we're just seeing a lot of drivers going in over their head into some of these turns.
Yeah, and also we wanted to highlight one driver too. 74 of Nick Delicato. We're talking about him at the beginning of the race, very far back in the pack, and now found himself inside the top 5 here. So he's got a solid shot at potentially getting the win. Again, has got quite a bit of speed. Won at Kentucky in his rookie season. So I think he's got a lot of potential to potentially win this race here if he can make some noise, especially with the lack of Byron Daly. But you don't have to look too far back, because that 06 up into 8th.
And I believe he's definitely got the freshest tires out of anyone else ahead of him. They've made a little bit of a difference on the restarts. We've seen him get really good runs out of the turns, but he's just not getting the green flag run that he really needs to get up there and fight for the win yet again. So he really needs this. He needs these drivers to calm down a little bit for sure.
Yeah, and especially as we get more laps on the tires too, the tires are going to start to equal out, so he's going to lose the advantage that he has. So kind of hoping, as you're saying, that it goes green for a little while longer, so you can actually use the fresh tires to the advantage. It's still solid considering he came up from around 17th up into 8th in a very short period of time, at least as far as green flag laps are concerned. So a good climb forward for the 06. We'll see that pays off. Also noting too, Chad Simpson, he's up to 7th position after restarting very much near the back. So he's slowly clawed his way up. Or sorry, no, that's Chad Simpson. I meant Nick Johnston. Not that far up. I don't know where he is.
13th.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, right behind the 51 of Curtis Yancey. Yancey's actually made a lot of ground up. 28th to 11th. Jason Brophy, as we said, 26th to 9th. A couple guys coming from not qualifying for this race, but they made up decent ground, kept their cars clean. They still got a shot at a nice finish.
Yeah, absolutely, they do. Especially for Brophy gear, see where you can end up showing some solid pace here at the near the end of this race here, as we're just about to approach 50 laps to go. Riley Thompson leading the field to Green Sheen Tarian, Michael Stroll, Castleman, and Nick Delicato, your top 5. And there goes the 56 on the throttle, and we're back green at Iowa.
That 83 machine just can't figure it out on these restarts. Michael Stroll gets the better of him each and every time, but luckily for him, Stroll just can't rotate the bottom as well. Almost clear out of turn 2. Can't risk that slide job out of 2, though.
And some great stuff going on right in behind these guys, not giving an inch here on the restart, all going for position. They see Byron Daly trying to follow the 74 Nick Delicato through as he's fighting with the 93 of McCuistion, and Delicato dealing with Cass Summon, who's still trying to get around the 8 of Stroll. Had a few attempts against that 8, but hasn't been able to seal the deal due to the quick cautions, but now he's got a good run to the outside.
Got a really good run. The 8 just kind of stuck in the wrong lane. Michael Stroll just really nowhere to go, really checking up as he's going to get split into the middle, 3 wide, and Delicato going for it here. He might make that done. He's going to come up. Contact made.
Yeah, and they're going to rub fenders, himself and the 8 of Stroll. Stroll, the biggest loser out of that, going to drop back. Not 1 but 2 positions in behind Travis McCuistion here as he sorts himself in line.
That worked out really good for Byron Daly. He was stuck on that inside line, and now he's got a bunch of room to work with. Now he's going to get to be outside of Delicato. He's going to try to get to the back bumper of Cass Silliman at the same time. He's a bit boxed in still, but he's going to try to make it work.
And Silliman now going to start the run up here. We'll see if he can try to do anything to catch up to the leaders, especially too with Byron Daly, as you mentioned, right in behind. Daly looking to the outside of Elise, and Delicato also trying to eye up that 6 car, but can't get the job done.
Yeah, the 6 machine, they've done a really good job of staying up there throughout all these people pitting, doing a great job so far, but that 06 is just way too strong. He's trying to get to the outside, contact almost made. Byron Daly getting a big squeeze from Silliman there, able to get up there. He's to his preferred line. He's going to zoom around the outside to P3.
And great move by Daly to get to the outside of Cass Silliman. They're going to fall back to 4th place and right ahead of Nick Delicato. Is Delicato going to dive up to their inside?
He's going to be able to do it, but I don't know if he's going to get the run out of 4 to clear Silliman. They're going to be side by side, Silliman with the run out of 4. As we see behind these two, Travis McQuiston, Michael Stroll still side by side, pretty much holding everyone up, including Nick Johnston.
Yeah, I'm riding on board with the 28 after climbing up to 8th place here. Slowly but surely moving his way up after restarting outside in 13th. He's moved up quite a few spots. You can see him having the lane open up the middle. He's going to try to gas it up to put the car there, but going to almost rub doors with the 93.
And they're going to go 3 wide. Hayden Pistorius tries to shoot the bottom, can't make it work. The 28 gets some clear space. He's also on fresher tires than the 8 and the 93 as well, so he's not going to be able to clear out of turn 2 as the 74 and the 6 still side by side. Silliman still hanging in there as this pack, Nick Johnson's still trying to get by. Nick Johnson's going to clear out of 4, and he's out and away.
And how about up for second place? Now Byron Daly really on a solid charge. Gonna dive up the inside of the 83 Machine Terror. You can see him really making work of those fresh tires. His tires almost half the amount of laps on them compared to the guys around him. Not all green flag laps, but still for Daly, this is a big advantage as he's trying to go now to Riley Thompson for first.
And now Byron Daly's, in my opinion, in a win-win situation, because if a caution comes out now, you're good, you're already in second, and you're probably going to, everyone else around you is likely to pit still and get another set of tires. And if it does go green, well, you still got the freshest tires out of anyone around you, so you pretty much likely have to race one, possibly.
And there we see David Caleb. He's also a driver on the same, has pit around the same time as Byron Daly. He's got some fresher tires than some of the guys ahead of him. He's cutting his way through the field, fighting with the 93 McCushion. Will get himself on by. Nick Johnson to the inside of Tim Silliman now for fifth.
Silliman trying to fight hard on it outside. It's easy to get a good enough run to get the run down the backstretch and stay to the outside. Can't really do it. Nick Johnson looks too strong on the fresher tires, and Johnson's going to clear in the center of the corner.
Back up to our leaders here. Now the 06 all over the back of Riley Thompson here. Here comes Daly. Going to have a look into turn one. Deep dive to the inside.
And Byron Daly is really going to have a cruise to the finish if it goes green. Riley Thompson just does not have the tires to fight at all. He's going to check out, I believe, here soon.
And Daly, man, what a call. This is going to be pretty good for him because now he's got some fresher tires to drive away. And again, these guys don't need to come back down to pit road. They should be good to the end.
Yeah, if a caution, like I said earlier, caution comes out now, Daly's pretty much set in the race lead unless literally everyone in the field just doesn't want to do the same thing he does. I wouldn't be surprised because he's been dominant when he's out front, almost untouchable. But a lot of these guys on the new tires, after finally getting some green flag laps and starting to find their way to the front of the pack, as Nick Johnson's up to 5th. And Hayden Pistorius, I believe, on new tires as well, battling for 7th. Michael Stroll, even with the contact he had, still not giving up.
Yeah, and he's going to slowly trickle on again as the guys with fresh tires starting to work their way on through and really seeing that call, especially with the long green flag run, quite a bit of advantage for those drivers here, making quick work of the rest of the guys through the field.
Yeah, it's still, even with the fresher rubber though, we're seeing Pistorius really struggle on that bottom lane. Michael Stroll getting good runs off the top, just nothing Pistorius can do but to try to really send it in the center of a corner to try to clear up out of the turn, but he's just not able to make it work, and Stroll keeps getting the edge down the straightaways.
Yeah, Silliman right in front of them. He's on older tires as well, so this is going to be a struggle for him to hold up the 9 car at the very least. Pistorius dive out of frame to the inside, trying to use that lane to his advantage.
And he's got a gap to go for the outside to take that spot away from Stroll. He's going to get the job done, but Michael Stroll's still not giving up. He's going to do the little bit of a crossover here. I don't know if he has the tire to really make that work on the bottom, though. Pistorius has the positioning, and he's got David Kolb lined up on the top as well.
Yeah, and up ahead of them, just going to cut ahead as you see Nick Johnson. He's going to work by Nick and Delicato going to yield that spot to the 28 machine. He's going to fall back to 5th. As we cut back to that battle, as Pistorius trying to work his way around Cass Silliman can't get it done exactly off of turn 4.
We're seeing more 2x2 action, the 6 and the 9 side-by-side lull, and the 11 and the 8. Michael Stroll just can't do anything. He needed to be in that top lane. A bit of a mistake going down there to try to do the crossover. Loses not 1 but 2 spots as Pistorius almost dooring Silliman down that straightaway there.
I think pretty much did door him. You see the 11 going to try to dive into the inside of the 6. This could be a wreck here waiting to happen. But Cobb has the tires to work with here to dive up the inside. You see the 9 now holding up Silliman to the outside. Here comes Cobb now to the inside move into turn 1. And he'll get the spot as well.
Silliman a bit of a bump to Pistorius, maybe not appreciative of how they have been raced. And it's going to cost Silliman, another spot. David Kolb gets by, possibly on fresh tires as well, really making it work. The 8, Stroll still trying to make that inside work, just can't really get it done, but he has the room to battle because there's another side-by-side battle for the top 10 spot from McQuiston and Roby.
And they're going to sort themselves out at the moment, and with them, both of them on equal tire life. However, the driver in behind them, Colin Fambro, has got fresher rubber to work with. He's eyeing up a pass. He's going to have a look here, heading down into turn 3. There he goes.
A really good move there. Meanwhile, Up for fourth, Nick Johnson has taken third away from Shane Terry, and Nick Delicato actually hit the apron there in turn 3. He was able to save it, but a really good battle for P8 still going on. Stroll might be a bit faster than the 6 machine, but really just can't get that extra oomph clear.
Yeah, that's the problem again with the older tires these guys are going to have to deal with for again another 30 some odd laps. And this has been some fantastic stuff here at Iowa, especially in the later going. Everyone going at it, especially the guys with fresh tires, running their way up through the order, aggressively using their tires to their advantage. You see the 8 is going to clear ahead of the 6 of Cass Silman, and then in behind, still this battle going on.
Yeah, really good job. Colin Farabro, who actually got a decent bit of damage from when Michael Skinner spun around out of turn number 2. He got a lot of damage out of that, but he's got those fresh tires just like everyone else who's making their way through the field. He's making those tires work even with a bent up right side. He's under McQuiston. Can't get a good of a run, but even with the damage he's had, it's a really good recovery so far.
Absolutely. Gonna
almost got
just
McQuiston there.
Yep, just got into his bumper here. He's being really aggressive, trying to move his way around. There you see also Jason Brophy in behind. He's also trying to take advantage of the situation and get around the 93.
Yeah, I think Fambro's probably driving angry at the same time. I think he was upset with Pistorius. He goes for the slider out of 4. McQuiston into the back bumper, going for the crossover there. Aggressive racing for the top 10 position still. And Fambro's got the outside positioning now.
And Fambro is going to walk around the outside. He's going to easily drive away from these drivers. As you see, Brophy now with the move to the outside. Hensley in behind. Haven't talked about him for quite a while in that 44 machine. He's going to try to look up the inside 3 wide out of turn 4.
McQuiston really pushed up there for whatever reason. Coming out of turn number 4, it's going to cost him a spot to the 20 machine of Jason Brophy, and Tyler Hensley dives down to the inside to go for a slider in the middle of the corner. He's going to make that one work.
This has been an endless battle for with this group of drivers. There you see right in behind Mitch Welker trying to work around the 42 of Chad Simpson. He's going to get himself on by. And remember, the 76 was involved with that incident with Wilco. That car, I think, got the best of that. Didn't really, I don't think even received any damage. Maybe some right side damage to that car, but looking still pretty good inside the top 15.
Yeah, just trying to make up some extra spots, maybe try to get back into that top 10. It's going to be a long climb with not too long to go in this race. These laps are going to fly by quick if there are no yellows. As meanwhile, Colin Farnborough on his fresh tires, leading Brophy and Hensley up back to the 6-pack bumper of Cass Silliman here.
Absolutely, and we'll cut up to that battle with these drivers. Remember, you can see in that yellow Pennzoil machine, look at how much entry speed, the difference between that 5 and the 6 as Farnborough chucked it in the corner. And you can see that the 6 makes it up on exit, but not quite as much. I think Farnborough's still gaining quite a bit.
Farnborough trying to send it up to the inside, trying to get the run through the corner, which he does get, but not going to have any room to get the drive off. Silliman drives off out of turn number 4, and meanwhile, Brophy under attack from Tyler Hensley.
And now Hensley going up the inside, going to fight side by side with the 20 car. And again, no changes up really near our leaders. Actually, as I say that, battle starting to brew here between Nick and Delicato and Shane Terry, and this is for 4th place. Actually going to die down for now. We'll quickly jump back at that other battle as you see Hensley and Brophy side by side.
See Nick and Delicato trying to get to the inside here. We see Casey Licata's getting in the way of David Cobb there, almost a huge crash there, trying to pay attention while Finian's having some issues, as we still see this side-by-side battle for the 4th position.
Yeah, as these drivers still trying to work at it. We saw Shane Tyrion almost in the wall, trying to check back again. Two great battles really going on near the top few spots. Hensley now working to the inside.
Yeah, Hensley trying to make it work, can't get it done just yet. Has room to slide up. I don't think he wants to risk it though, but the 20's going to have to lift out at 2, put Tyler Hensley up to the 11th position for good. As Farnborough goes for a huge dive into turn number 3 on Silliman.
Let's see if he can make it stick. It's going to be pretty tough, especially with that car's up ahead. Silliman somehow doesn't hit the wall off the corner. They're going to keep that car ahead of the 5.
Yeah, Farnborough's not going to have any room to go to the inside, lapping the slow machine of Casey Licata's, as he's just going to have to check in and pretty much ride for about a half a lap and go for it again on the bottom, because you know that 6 machine is not giving up the top.
No, and you can't really at this stage. You see all these guys lined up in behind the 6 of Silliman. You see Brophy as well. He's starting to try to catch back to the 44, but Hensley working his way through the field pretty quickly. Another driver on some fresher rubber.
And Mitch Welker and Brian Chambliss at the back of this group as well. Chambliss trying to recover from his terrible first run with some fresh rubber. Mitch Welker doing the same as Fambro. Another dive into turn number 3. Willie tried the slider this time. Not really trying it. He's clear. He's going to try it right here. Force the 6 into the wall.
Yeah, Magic Cast is going to be too happy with that. We'll see if they do anything about it. But he's going to get a compromise entry into turns 1 and 2 as well. Brophy now eyeing up a move to the inside.
And Chandler's still eyeing up a run to the inside of Mitch Welker there. Fambro comes over to radio to apologize. I don't know if Stillman really cares, though.
I was going to say, you can say sorry all you want. It's just a matter of, as you're saying, the driver, if they care or not, or accept your apology. And a lot of times the answer is they don't really care about your apology.
Yeah,
So,
I would know. Yes, I know that firsthand.
Shane Terry and Nick Delicado, the battle started to heat up yet again in that 74, trying to work up the inside of the 83, heading into turn 3 now.
Doesn't seem like he has the courage. He doesn't believe in the tires enough to try a slider. I thought he might have had an opportunity to at least try it, get the outside position, but he doesn't try. Terrian way loose off of turn 4. Stays in the throttle, though, and he gets the car length lead just barely into turn 1.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's trying to keep that car up ahead on the outside, but you can see him struggling with the tires to keep that pace up, and Delicado slowly inching his way up ahead. Got a great run out of 2.
Still not going to really try to slider. He might throttle up mid-corner to try to make it work. He's got the positioning in the 83. Maybe look for a crossover, and the 74 will lose. He saved it. Unbelievable. But he was clear. He's going to lose that spot, possibly Terrian to the outside. And I don't think Terrian sends it up to the outside. The 74 stays clear for 4th.
These drivers really pushing the issue here as they're old. Whoa, as Delicado gets sideways into the wall hard. And Terrian going to work his way on by. Here comes Hayden Pistorius now going to throw his hat into the ring.
That 74 really struggling. The tires making his car a bit too loose all of a sudden. It just snapped on him, couldn't save it. And here comes Pistorius looking for a better spot inside the top 5 possibly.
Yeah, some great battles going on. Also, you just saw for a second there, battle for second starting to heat up as well. As you see in Delicado try to have a look up the inside. Also saw a flash for position for these guys in behind as well. As Fambro still trying to get clear of the 8 of Michael Stroll. He's working to his inside. Hensley also sitting behind. Welker and company in a big battle as well. There's just way too much stuff going on the track at the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Formula I race last Saturday. Meanwhile, the battle for second heating up. Nick Johnson to the bottom. Tried a bit of a slider in the middle of 1 and 2. Couldn't make it work. Actually gets the better run. Better of Riley Thompson. He's going to send it into turn number 1 and get that position.
Yeah, this should be clean and done for him. Checking back quickly at that battle in behind as the scoring pylon's in the way for a second. As you see in Delicado get ahead. But here comes not only Shane Terry and Pistorius, but also here comes David Cobb as well into the mix. He's caught up to this group of drivers.
David Cobb doing a great job of keeping his car mainly clean, trying to get to the back bumper of Pistorius. A great battle for the top 4 position so far. Delicado back into that 4th spot over Shane Terry, and wonder if Terry made a mistake. As meanwhile, I'm trying to see up at the front, Byron Daly about a 2-second lead. The Nick Johnson has even tires. I'm not sure if Johnson has the pace to get up there, but we know what Nick Johnson's capable of. You really never know.
Yeah, really, he's approaching 15 laps to go. As you see, Tyler Hensley have a big slide out of turn 4. Almost got into Mitch Welker, who moves to his inside. Will get the pass done. Lap car, Skinner on the bottom. He's going to pull off the track and give these guys some room to work with. Not much, though.
Oh, see the 25 and the 44 get really close. The 44 maybe a bit of side draft, if that's even a thing in these Xfinity cars. He tries to send it up to the inside of Mitch Welker as well, not going to work. Look at Chambliss get the run off the 4.
He's trying to, you can see the opening, Welker's giving it to him, surprisingly, as he was able to clear that 25, but you can see him going to push him up the track. He's going to try to keep that 25 out of the way. He's going to cut down low, still trying to clear him off 2.
He's going to be able to make it work. Chambliss probably not going to like the lack of room there going into the center of a corner. I believe Mitch Welker got the same hand dealt by Skinner earlier in the race in that wreck, as Welker a big send of a bottom, and it's going to work. Tries the slider and Stroll right in the back bumper, but it works out for Mitch Welker.
It just missed it. We're looking on the battle right directly in behind, but here's the look again at what happened out of turn 4. Welker racing aggressively here. Don't blame him. We only got 15 laps to go. You have to at this point.
And meanwhile, Brian Chambliss, because of that checkup that Stroll had, he's going to be able to get back up. He's going to get that position back. So put Brian Chambliss back into the top 10 after the roller coaster day he's had.
You can see behind these guys still going out for position as well. As you see Chad Simpson up the inside of Cass Silman, and then all in behind Jason Brophy. This is all a battle for 13th place. Some great battles here going on the second half of this race in the closing laps. Still struggling to keep track of all. You see again Chambliss and Welker side by side, and I can't imagine too much love between these two.
No, not whatsoever. Chandler's really struggled early, and I think he's driving a little bit angry as well, maybe angry at himself, really making these new tires work on Mitch Welker. Great run on the bottom there. He might be able to drive it in hard. He's going to give Welker the same business, drive him way up the track. I think that's a little bit of payback for not getting that room a couple laps ago.
See, this escalates here as we're just about to approach 10 laps to go as the leaders come by the line. Next time by, but it was riding off the back of Brian Chambliss. He's sitting in ninth. He's got a hornet's nest of cars in behind, all still vying for spots here in these closing laps.
And the battle for fifth is still heating up. Nick Indelicato able to pull away all of a sudden from these guys. Hayden Pastorius hounding that 83 machine, and David Kolb in there as well. These three are wrapped under a blanket just like the other guys.
Yeah, you can see 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th all in frame, but as you're saying, Indelicato is starting to drive up. Now it's essentially a battle for 5th. Kolb, a great drive off the corners, trying to get on the power seat. Pastorius almost slapped the wall as he's trying to get back on the accelerator.
And David Kolb doesn't want anything to do with that bottom lane. He swoops high, trying to get the run out of turn number 2. He's going to get a decent run. I don't think he's going to have room to slide him. Not going to matter. The
caution out. I see Tyler Dulger and Richard Nash slow as they're getting back on track. Here's to see what happened here. This might have been a single car incident here coming off of turn 4. He for Hensley just got loose, overcorrected into the wall he went, and spinning down the front stretch. You see Nash, gonna hit him in the right front. That's not gonna be good for the 88.
Yeah, and a lot of people aren't going to be happy about a lap, sort of a slower car kind of altering the race here. A lot of people aren't going to be happy about that, and the one person who definitely didn't want to see that yellow is definitely Byron Daly, who had the race in the bag with a 2-second lead. And now I think everyone's going to take their 4 tires, but the restart's going to be with under 5 to go. You really never know what you're going to get.
And here we go on the pit road. I was just about to ask what's the call here. As you see, Byron Daly head on down. Nick Johnson, Riley Thompson, Delicato, and pretty much everyone else. Mitch Welker, he's staying out.
Oh boy, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. I don't think he has any friends, however. I don't see anyone with him.
Yeah, I'm looking here. Unfortunately for Mitch Welker, nearly every other car has come on into the pits, and really this move only really works if you have some people that stay out with you. You need some guys you need some people to sacrifice essentially to the guys on fresher tires. I think he's banking on the fact this is only going to be 2 laps if he can game the start enough. I think this actually might be a little bit more than 2 laps actually now I'm looking at it. I think he's hoping if he can get a good enough jump he could drive away, but that's going to be a tall ask.
That's looking unlikely. We only saw he's literally the only one to stay out, and I believe we only saw one person try the 2-tire strategy. David Kolb got off pit road first, just right in front of Byron Daly, and then Nick Johnson, Riley Thompson, Nick Indelicato, the top 5 out of the pits. Only one person on 2 tires. So Mitch Welker and David Kolb, I think they're going to be cooked here, and it's probably going to cause a huge crash, but I guess we'll find out.
I will say if I was in these drivers' positions, I probably would have gone with David Kolb's strategy. I think at the very least you could take 2 tires. Obviously, that's not the best way to, obviously you're going to want all 4 tires, but to give yourself that track position, I think that should help, especially I think these guys might also be planning on it to be have quite a few wrecks involved here towards the end of the race. So I also wanted to ask you, how good are we on time? Because that's now going to start to become a pretty solid factor here as the race is starting to wind down.
I believe 20 minutes. It says hour 25 gone. The limit's an hour 45. So I think we should have time to get this race in, but you never know, I guess.
You never do know. And the reason I say that's important because fuels rule for green white checkers is we have unlimited attempts at a green white checker as time permits. Time isn't set usually for a lot of oval leagues. They set almost 4 or 5 hours of time available for the server. Fuel keeps it pretty tight at only around an hour and a half to 2 hours, somewhere in there. So we're only going to have that much time allocated for green white checkered. So that's kind of giving an indicator of how much we're going to need. And again, with these drivers, this could pay off. It could be bad. We'll never know, especially depending on how many attempts we need. I'm sure for Welker, he's hoping we don't get any more attempts than the one we're going to have here. And I think we are. Again, this is not going to count as a green white checkered. I think this should be a restart within regulation distance with I think 3 laps to go.
I think it should be 3. It might be if anything, they're gonna have maybe a natural green-white checkered at the latest with just 2 laps in regulation. But I think it will be 3 to go. I'm kind of looking to see what happens to not Nick and Delicato, the 28 Nick Johnson. I think the 11 might have the tires to launch into a turn. I think Mitch Welker might get a decent restart too, but in the turn 1, he is not going to be able to keep that car pointed. The 06 just has to really hold on to the bottom and hope that that 76 washes the 11 up. And I'm wondering to see if the 28 can make some sort of line at the top, or maybe even get in behind Byron Daly to follow him through.
Yeah, you're watching the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series here on Sim TV, and the race just about to come to a close here in just a few moments. 1 to green here. We're going to get a restart with 3 laps to go. If a caution comes out, we're going to have our attempt at a first green-white checker. Mitch Welker notably taking the outside lane on the restart. I think every single person we've had, or for every single restart we've had up till now, we've seen someone take the inside lane. So this is a first, and honestly, I'm kind of okay with that. I think he needs to get himself in that outside lane. We'll have to see if this works.
I don't think it's going to work. I wonder if he's playing strategy of anyone in that second row. I think this is definitely a disadvantage to Nick Johnson. I'm just really looking at these guys in that second row to take this checkered flag. I'm not quite sure how this is going to go.
Here we go. Pace truck about to pull off to the inside, and the field will be in the hands of the 76. Pace truck off, and there we go. Back green here at Iowa. 3 laps to go.
And if the 76 goes to the inside here, it's perfect for Nick
Oh,
Johnson.
and David Cobb's slow and sideways out of turn 1, and the caution out immediately, and we're definitely going to have a green-white checkered.
Nick Johnson went up and over into the fence. Unfortunately, got clipped out of all that. I believe Will Roberts got some damage out of that. A huge mistake by Call.
That was very surprising. I wasn't expecting to see that happen, but I think just pushed to the car too much. Again, only took 2 tires on the call. We'll see here from the TV camera. He got put 3 wide. Byron Daly threw his inside into the corner. And, oh, wow. And Nick Johnson got destroyed in that wreck. And many others involved as well. I have to take a few angles here. Wow.
I thought the 28 was going to get hit when the 11 initially went into the wall, but the 11 actually bounced back into the right rear of Johnson and just sent Johnson absolutely barrel rolling into the fence. He's going to come down into traffic as well. They're already spinning on the bottom. Will Roberts, like I said, I think was the main one who got the third part of that crash.
Really unfortunate for the 28. That's going to cost him quite a bit. He's going to pretty much have to park it here. I think he's going to try his best to keep that car going. So he's going to have to come to pit road at some point. I imagine that's definitely going to be a meatball flag, and here he comes on down. So he's effectively going to be out of it. I doubt he's going to have enough time to fix that car and get back out there. So he's going to actually probably have to settle around 30th place, just ahead of Thomas Bressie.
And a couple other drivers involved in that. Chad Simpson and Travis McQuiston got a piece of it as well. McQuiston actually, I think, bounced the 28 even further into the air. I don't know how much damage McQuiston got. He was definitely in the middle of, after Chad Simpson hit the 11.
Yeah, we're going to have now our first official attempt at a green-white checkered, and we're going to keep going as long as we have time. No, Kentucky was a bit weird. Sorry, you're saying?
I believe, I don't know. I don't believe it's unlimited. I believe we have 3 green-white checkered attempts here.
Is it? Oh, I think they might have changed it.
Because it was 5 at Kentucky, and they used pretty much everything they could at Kentucky, and I don't think they want to sit around here doing all these green-white checkers, because I think there was a problem, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah.
They went in the time ran out at Kentucky, but they still kept doing the green-white checkers, so I think they're trying to avoid this. They should be able to get 3 attempts at the max into this, but I guess we'll find out. In the middle of all this, that huge wreck happening with Kolb on 2 tires, the guy on no tires, Mitch Welker, stays in the lead.
Yeah, and again, I am interested in seeing how this plays out for the 76. And again, I can't imagine that Mitch is going to feel like he's going to get the win. He's going to do the best he can to get this win. However, I think he feels, at the worst case scenario, he's going to make up some spots running outside the top 10 before he made this call. So if he finishes inside the top 10, that's going to be that's a pretty good call. He made up position by with the strategy, so that's going to play out for him. We'll have to see again if that is going to be the case, or if he'll meet David Cobb's fate going spinning off into turn 1, which I don't think he will, but you never know with these things.
if doing a two-tire call, you're so at risk because you're going to have that grip of fresh tires, but the car is so uneven. You have completely cold and fresh tires on your right, and on your left, your tires are absolutely dead. So it's way too imbalanced. You're always crazy loose on two tires, and that just that bit call up there. I'm interested to see if Mitch Welker picks that outside lane again, because I feel like he's probably not going to get the win unless they keep wrecking and they can't pass him in time. I think the line he picks is going to dictate his win, because he's going to have the 06 on his inside if he takes the outside, and Riley Thompson will be behind the 06, so he won't be able to really do anything with Byron Daly. And then if he picks the inside, Mitch Welker does, it kind of gives Riley Thompson an advantage, because he can just follow Mitch Welker into turn number 1 and wait for Welker to wash up and probably get in Byron Daly's way. So I believe this restart, depending on which line he picks, is going to dictate the winner.
Absolutely, and again, if you're still watching here, you definitely don't want to pull away now here, as we got our first attempt at the green light checker coming up shortly. And, you know, for these drivers, if you're interested in this series next week, where we'll be heading off to Homestead, Miami, and that track has puts on some fantastic racing in this cars as well. After that, head to New Hampshire and then Darlington by September 1st. So we've got some fun tracks on the schedule up ahead. Definitely going to put these drivers to the test, especially Homestead. I honestly love that track.
It's a really nice track for racing. You don't get much better than that, especially for multi-grooved racing. At least in real life, you still see a decent amount of it on the iRacing sim, especially with the tire wear that can happen. You can pretty much use 3 or 4 lanes, just like you can here at Iowa.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, again, pace car going to be off this time by. We'll get our first attempt at a green white checkered underway. Do you think we're going to need any more?
At least one.
Yeah, I like your confidence. I'm feeling that as well here as the pace truck going to pull off. Give the control of the field back to Mitch Welker again. We'll see if he can hold on. Everyone else with 4 fresh tires in behind. Going to slow them up quite a bit. Back on the gas, and here we go, green. Great job gaming the start for the 76. We'll see if he can hold on.
We'll see if he goes to the inside through 1 and 2 to block the 06. He's going to try to. Byron Daly nowhere to go, but Mitch Welker doesn't have the grip. Look at the 74 of Indelicato on the top.
Yeah, you can see he's not able to keep that car pinned down at all. He's struggling for grip, Mitch Welker is, as he's going to be to the outside. Byron Daly going to blow on by. We'll see what Indelicato can do. Got a win a few weeks back in Kentucky. We'll see if he can do it again. He's sideways off of turn 4. Can he save it? He saves it, though. Field across the line, though. We're going to get the white flag, and this will be the final lap.
And he did not save it. He spun it around, and I think that's all she wrote. Byron Daly, the restart he needed, the move he needed. Riley Thompson not there, and he's going to pull away a winner.
Absolutely. We'll see if they can make it back to the field in one piece, or Welker's going to push here. They're bunching up in behind him, but at least for the lead, Byron Daly coming out of turn 4. He is going to win here at Iowa. In behind them, Riley Thompson going to come home in second place. Aiden Pistorius looks like he's going to come home in third. You see Riley trying to do a great drift through turns 1 and 2. Can't hold on to it at the end. Shane Tarian in 4th, and Mitch Welker. Fantastic call for him. That's still going to work out with a top 5 for that 76 as the fireworks. You can hear them popping off on the screen.
Yeah, really good job by Welker. He was able to keep it top 5. A really good strategy call for him. Definitely worked out in his favor. Those guys on 4 tires couldn't get by him like the 06 could. And definitely a deserving win for Byron Daly. He could have gotten screwed by that yellow with about 10 to go, but he gets his deserved win.
And second win in a row, one last week at Watkins Glen, and we'll get win number 2 here in Iowa. Fantastic job by the 06 of Byron Daly. And if he remains commonplace in this series, he could be a threat for the championship, honestly. So we'll have to see, keep an eye on Byron Daly throughout the season.
I was looking at that wreck out of turn 4. We saw a couple people spin out of turn number 4 on the final lap, as well as the 74 on coming to the white flag. He actually wasn't able to save that car. He only came home, I believe, tail end of the lead lap, all the way back in 24th.
That really sucks for Indelicato, especially. I mean, but hey, that's what you get. That's what happens when you push the car. It can either work out or it can work out horribly. And unfortunately for Indelicato, worked out horribly. But you can see your top 10 on the screen there. Christian Gritzko notably gonna just put himself inside of the top 10. Good job for the 91. Cass Silman as well, back in 9th. And other notables again, Shane Taryn, and he's just been killing it as far as the points game, and I think should definitely be walking out of here still with the points. His lowest finish this season so far, Shane Taryn, has been sixth. Sixth at Daytona, second at Kentucky, sixth at the Glen, and now fourth here at Iowa. So he's been killing it in the consistency department. We'll see if he can keep it up. But with that, we're going to cut to a quick break, and we'll grab some drivers to interviews, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back. And we're back live here with Mitch Welker. And Mitch, man, what a call late in the race. Put yourself up in front. Unfortunately, it didn't translate to a win, but still a solid fifth place finish. Walk us through what your thought process in making that call at the end.
Well, it was a bit of a forced call because this series now uses limited tire sets. And with the extra pit stop I made to repair damage earlier on, around lap 90 or so, I had run out of tires. So I had no choice but to stay out. And it worked a whole lot better than if I had taken the tires and tried to run up there at the end. So, I mean, I guess I got helped out a little bit there by circumstance.
Absolutely, and unfortunately, looking at the rest of the season, hasn't, I don't think, quite gone your way. You had some rough luck last week at the Glen, just to name a few, but looking at the rest of the season, especially some other tracks, any one that you think you could potentially get a win at?
Any kind of road course would be good. I think maybe Darlington, just because it's kind of an oddball, and I tend to be a little bit more protective of my car in races. So I don't know if there's any real specific places I'd be good at. More than the rest. I didn't expect to be great tonight, but on a longer run, I could save the tires a whole lot better. It just turned out. So I'll take every race in stride and just get the best result I can whenever I can.
Absolutely. Well, Mitch, thanks for talking to us here, and we'll see you next week.
See you then.
All right, and next driver we'll be talking to will be third place finisher Hayden Pistorius. And Hayden, man, you had a pretty solid run up there near the front. You kind of drifted out of to the later part of the top 10, but you found yourself up there in third. Walk us through how your race went.
I'll just start off with around first 50 laps before the first caution. I had my parking brake on for the whole time, and I kind of got ran into a few times by a few people, but Colin ran into me a few times, and I kind of opened my mouth and said something, and he kind of said something back, so I was scared that he was going to get back to me for the rest of the race. So I have to have a little chat with him later about it. But overall, it was a good day for me. I feel like I had speed, but I didn't have enough speed to be able to beat Byron and Riley. They figured it out pretty good. So overall, it was a good day, and I can't complain for top 3 with how my season's been going.
Yeah, just taking a look at it, it's your first top 10 and even top 5 of the season so far, so really good for you. You know, looking at the points, how do you feel yourself, how do you feel your odds, especially with the amount of competition we've seen come into this series between last season and now, your odds of getting, or chances of being in the Fuel Finals?
I think I still have a good shot at getting in there. I'll probably be a wild card in the playoffs, but I'll see if I can make it work and get some practice in.
Yeah, we'll definitely see you. Pistorius, definitely you got the pace, so hopefully we'll see you there, but we'll also see you next week.
Thanks, Vinian.
All right, and with that, going on to our second place finisher, Riley Thompson. Man, second place is kind of categorized your night, I think. You've been chasing down Byron Daly the entire race, but unfortunately you weren't able to catch him.
Yeah, the whole time it was definitely just trying to match what he was doing. In practice, I knew it was going to be a struggle to save tires, so I wasn't planning on fighting him too hard the whole time, just hopefully in the end trying to catch him, but knowing him, he's consistent as can be.
Yeah, you know, just kind of looking back at the race, you feel like there's anything you could have done, you know, maybe to try to usurp him, or did it seem like he was just, there's almost no beating him out tonight?
I think if there were a couple less cars between us on the restart, I might have had a better chance, but I think he had that slide up edge on me, so I'm glad he got the win. He definitely deserved it, and being able to race with him the whole time was really fun.
Yeah, well, if anything, season so far, I think, I want to say it's gone on pretty well. I'm trying to take a look here. Your results.
It's been so, I guess.
Yeah, actually, this is actually your best finish also, but I was talking with Pistorius too. That was also his first this is also his first top 10 finish, and the same thing for you as well, so hopefully you can keep the momentum up.
Fingers crossed.
Yep, and with that, going to now Byron Daly, your race winner, and Byron, man, you absolutely dominated out there tonight. I want to just pull away the graphic here just to see how many laps you led, because it was quite a bit. Yeah, just shy of 100 laps, 98 laps led, Byron, and just walk us through how you're able to pull it off.
Yeah, I've always liked Iowa. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's multi-groove or what, but at this track and I just kind of, roll well together. And if it wasn't for some cautions there, I feel like we could have got a lot more laps led out of it. But yeah, it was fun to come out here and run really well. Kind of needed to redeem myself after some other races I had this week. So I thought to myself, if I could just do well here, I'd feel pretty good about myself. So I'm really happy to pull this one off.
Yeah, absolutely, and also you want to mention too that you started 2 races and you won both of them, so your win percentage is 100%, which is not a whole lot of drivers can say. So, could we look at you? I remember talking to you last week or hearing last week. You weren't sure if you were going to be around here for the full season. Can we expect to see you now, especially considering you got 2 wins to your name?
Yeah, I think I'll be on more and more. Try to make races. I just with things going on at the moment, like it's hard to like commit to a full season. I kind of need to be able to wiggle out of a race if I have to, because I've got stuff going on between work and other things I'm doing. But I'm having fun running these races, and I'd like to contest as many as I can, honestly. So it could become a thing.
I definitely hope to see you, so especially the way you've been driving out there. It's been awesome to see your race. You just drove it through the field. We'll see if you can do it next week. But Byron, thanks for talking to us, and we'll see you next week. All right, and with that is going to wrap up interviews for tonight. Again, fantastic race at Iowa, especially that second half. It was just non-stop action. I was honestly finding it hard to keep track of all of it.
Yeah, especially at the end there, we saw a battle right at the front for P2, battle right inside the top 10, a battle right outside the top 10. There was racing all over the track, all sorts of lanes being used, yellow at the end there, throwing some big strategy into play, a couple of maybe season-changing crashes there. We'll have to see down the road in this regular season, but a lot of good action, and the driver who deserved to win got the victory for sure.
Yeah, you can see also as you look onto the second page, drivers finished 11th through 20th. Just looking for some notable names for Jason Brophy. Unfortunately, drifted further back after showing some solid pace at the end. of that second long green flag run that we had. Will Roberts managed to bounce back for 14th, and we saw him struggle early on in the race. And looking on at some of the drivers that have retired out of the race towards the end, you can see Nick Johnson finished in 30th. It was not a particularly good run for him. Nick Indelicato, as we mentioned, spinning out of turn 4, coming to the white flag, dropping all the way back to 24th. And looking at Thomas Bresky back in 31st. So again, a few notable drivers not having some good races, but always more weeks up to come. Speaking of which, next week, as we mentioned earlier in the race, we were heading to Homestead, Miami, so look forward to checking that race out here if you're interested in the series. But for ourselves at SimTV, the next race we'll be broadcasting will be Scar's Porsche Super Cup at Spa-Francorchamps on the 13th, which is 2 days from now, on Thursday. I'll be starting at 8:30 p.m., so tune in if you're interested in that. But for now, my name is Finny Kuna here with Connor Horn. We'll be SimTV, and we'll be signing out. Thank you for watching.